What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JCH Garage. I'm currently loading up, well, I currently just loaded up the vehicle for Chico's single cam to go to the machine shop. Block, head, crank, girdle, oil pan, main seal, pickup, all that's getting cleaned because you can see it's just disgusting. I want this thing fresh when we build it. We don't have any what ifs, if, ors, buts, anything like that. This is a box for a friend that I'm having some work done on his. We're going to be assembling his motor. So those are his rods and pistons that are going to get some work done. I'll elaborate on that later when I get to it. So I'll update you guys as we go with the build. Like I said, I'm getting ready to drop it off and get that going. Hopefully I'll be back by the weekend. If not, it's okay. It's not a huge rush. We're still waiting on a bunch of parts to come in. I still got to do a bunch of work on the body itself. I haven't done anything since I pulled the motor out and pulled it down. Chico's been ordering parts for this build, and the turbo setup just showed up straight from eBay. It's supposed to be, he said it's rated at 300, 350, so the goal is 300 on the car to the wheels. This is kind of like an eBay slash budget style build that we're doing with this. All right, so we got a bunch of couplers. Get the box out there. That's not terrible. They notched it so you can kind of slip it on. This is my first time trying to do something like this, so looks good. Straight flange. I got the wastegate. There's a intercooler. This was a bad idea to do it right in front of the front door. I don't have anywhere to put this stuff down. Okay, cool. My biggest question is the piping. I was looking online. It's 2.5 inch. That's not 2.5 inch. That might be 2.5 inch. Well, it's definitely a Wuhan. Definitely a Wuhan setup. We got some AEM good stuff for the gauges. Make sure you go spend some money. Another coupler. Is this the boost controller, maybe?
No, this is the main.
That's the boost controller, which we're probably not using since we're looking at doing a 3-port or 4-port. Clamps. Okay. This must be the manifold. I haven't seen red and blue AN fittings in a very long time. So make your own hoses. Alright, that's cool. Okay. Could be the loop around, but it's so small. It's got the thing. Kind of where it doesn't have to go through the hole. Maybe it goes next to the frame rail too.
That goes the intercooler.
Okay. Too bad we don't have a motor in the car so we can lock this up. I just dropped everything off at the machine shop yesterday, so I'm actually waiting on a call from them so we can discuss the finalization and get the measurements and everything. That's gotta be it for the oil pan drain. Kind of sucks. I might try to find a better one. I think that's the adapter for the drain because I think it screws into that and then the hose screws into that. That threads into there, and then the hose fittings over here thread into that because that's the AN fitting. How it's so that welds. Yep, that's broken now. All right, here's the turbo. Here's the fun thing. Alright. Sweet. T3, T4, 57 AR. For those single cam. It's gonna be up. Yeah, so it does. Okay. So yeah, we clock this downwards.
Flat angle, so it actually sits.
It's gonna sit like that. I'm working on Chico's car. It's been a couple days since I've touched it. Currently running the gauge wiring. The firewall plug is what I'm using to run the wire through. So right now I've got all 3 gauges
just kind of sit through it. AEM uses the same connectors for a couple things, so I marked the one that I'm going to be using for oil pressure, so I don't get it mixed up when I get it inside the car. I have 2 more wires to run in here for his reverse, since this was an automatic converted to a manual. I never got around to doing that, so I'm getting ready to do that right now. Run the wires in here, then I'm going to plug all the wires into there, and then I'm going to start working on the inside, get the gauges set up, and get the wiring done for the rest of the auto manual conversion. I'm going to hook him up with the cruise controls. We've been collecting some parts here, got a whole bunch. Currently dropped all the motor stuff off at the machine shop, so I'm just waiting on them to call me so we can get that going. I haven't even given them the deposit yet. I guess they were slammed when I was dropping the parts off, so unfortunately it's going to be a little more of a delay. We ran into an issue with the pistons that Chico initially ordered, and after doing some research and some calculations, it was going to be way too high of a compression. It'd be perfect for an all-motor build, but who wants to do an all-motor single cam that's not going to make any power? We went ahead and contacted the guy who sold me the pistons, and we're going to do an exchange. Once those come in, I'll process the label, blah, blah, blah. We'll swap the pistons. Hopefully I'll have them by the end of this coming week. I still don't know if I'm going to have even the engine block. Alright, so I went ahead and pulled all the wires through and attached it to the firewall. Grommet is all there, that way we don't have any wires chafing on metal. This is just a rough idea of where the distances are going to be, because I know one's oil pressure, one's boost, and I don't remember if we were doing a vacuum block or not now, because we've gone through so many different scenarios. And then I've got the 2 extra wires for the reverse, which I know these are extremely long, but it was just easier to cut them long, and I'll set it once the motor's in the car. And the other one is the wideband, which it's not going to go that far because the wideband sensor itself, this has plenty of wire to pull out, so if I need to relocate it depending on where we put the wideband sensor on the turbo kit, which, if I remember correctly, the downpipe has the bung back here, which the sensor wiring itself is super long. So, now, that was the easy part. This is where it becomes a real challenge. So I'm going to set you up in here and try to get some work done. one down. Oh, hey, look, I guess I'm recording. Okay, cool. That was an accident. Anyway, got some new parts in for Chico's build. We had a situation with the pistons and decided that what we originally ordered wasn't going to work because it was going to put it over 12-ish compression, 12 to 1. So we went ahead and got the PM6s, which will put it around 10 to 1, which is a perfectly good high compression build still for boost. As you can see, these are the Nippon coated pistons. So I just called the machine shop and they're actually almost done with the block. So I'm going to drop these off, let them measure them to the bore, and we will have exact specs of what we're looking for, which we don't really have an exact number, but we just want to make sure we have enough clearance. Also ordered alpha injectors. These are 1000cc. Pretty nifty. They're just like my RDX injector. They have a little top hat. And it almost looks like the connector is almost the same. And it even came with OD2 adapters. So that'll be cool. Plug and play. What do we get? We also got a test pipe. The down pipe was clocked like this. Factory it's clocked, like this. So instead of cutting flanges and trying to find another flat flange, our idea is to run this blocks test pipe. This is a 2 1/4. And either try to use a donut gasket in between to seal it, or we're just going to use the little paper style gasket that comes with it. I've had other parts come in that I just started putting on the go. Last video I was installing the gauges and I kind of fell off on that, so I still need to finish that up, but I got the wires ran. So I ended up ordering some oil fittings for the turbo for the feed, and we're going to adapt it into the oil pressure. Hi babies, want to say hi?
Hi.
So I ordered that stuff. That's supposed to be coming in soon. Don't mind me, I haven't had sleep in days. My wife's in the hospital. But other than that, once that stuff comes in, I can start putting that together. It sounds like I'll be able to pick up the block probably tomorrow with the crank and all the other components. I'm waiting on him to clean the oil pan and all the other couple parts that I gave him. We opted to buy this drain pan fitting that should bolt in to the oil pan instead of having to weld it. Kind of cuts down on having to outsource to anybody else, and I know I can just Loctite it and silicone it and it should be fine. It's going to be higher up anyway. You know, usually when you do an oil drain, you don't set it so low to where you're going to have an oil leak anyway. So it should be perfectly fine with just that setup. But yeah, that's about where we're at right now.